Welcome and hello and welcome. It's been so long since I've seen you turds. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, as they say. Guys, welcome and hello and welcome. It is Un, Poco, Moss, and you find yourself in the enviable position of watching one of my Hump Day Twofer specials. Um, People are asking me, just give us a heads up. If you add something, give us a heads up if something's on your radar. So this is a stock. I took a position in, I think for the first time. It was either, I can't remember exactly. It was either Tuesday or it was, you know, I bought some more today. But anyway, I'm building out a position on this stock and I just wanted to share it with you guys if anybody's interested. I know, this is another, it's not really a penny stock, but it's a small cap to be sure, but you know, you guys have I have a tiny wing audience, and I don't discount the importance of something just because it's small. You guys are important to me, every one of you. Um, Anyway, so it's Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. And Acadia, why do I like this thing? Okay, just to give you the quick and dirty, they have. Let's see, let me get out of my channel here. They have. Let's see. I'm trying to. I was doing some drone research, guys, so, all over the place. But Acadia, so they have two FDA approved drugs. They're ramping sales, seeing 10% plus growth on those drugs every year. They're coming up upon $1 billion in revenue in terms of their run rate, or even actually above that. They're strongly profitable. Their margins and profitability is expanding, and I think the key on this one is you're really getting the pipeline for free. They have an Alzheimer's drug, which is looking quite promising in phase two, and they're going to have readout on that middle of this year. And a lot of analysts and, talking heads think if that readout is quite positive, this could get repriced to the upside, possibly as much as 50%. Now, that might be a little bit ambitious, but Alzheimer's is kind of the holy grail. There's not a lot of stuff over time that has worked. Um, and it's basically like, anytime something starts to get mentioned as promising around Alzheimer's, the stock prices tend to really go up. So, taking a look at this chart, I think it's pretty clear that 27 is a pretty critical pivot point on this thing. If you see, it kind of was resistance here, didn't really function as support because the swings were just too high. But as it normalizes and gets into a channel right here between 40 and 27, this definitely becomes support, breaks back down, becomes resistance for a bit, goes crazy, 56, breaks all the way back down, and it becomes resistance again. And besides breaking through here a couple times at 33, this resistance has held up pretty well, rejected again here. I personally think it's about to break through. And when I think it breaks through, you could kind of see the uptrend here in the highs. I think, this stock could easily move on this data 6 months out. You could easily see the stock up here, um, at least in the mid 40s, if not, but I think it could go even higher. There's several reasons for that. Look at the institutional ownership, insider ownership. This is is this institutional? Yeah, this is institutional ownership, which it's listed at 113%. Obviously, we know that's not possible. But the Baker brothers, I think they're technically an insider. Then BlackRock comes in. They have 20 million shares. Vanguard 15 million shares. State Street's in there. Geode, basically everybody you want to see. Palo Alto's in there. You really want to see them, and then you go over to insiders, and again, very, very strong 28% insider ownership. If you scoot over here to insider ownership, there's, you know, 23%. So just the top two insiders, own 36% of the company. And then if you look at the top shareholders, sorry, I'm in the wrong place. I'm saying a lot. I say way too much. But uh, anyway, I'm a big idiot. What can I tell you? But if you look at the top shareholders, you can see that basically the top, three or four shareholders own like 50% of the company. or something like that. I forget. I was making this calculation earlier. As far as the analysts, it's not super high. It's a moderate buy with 8 analysts buy, five hold, and 0 sells, which is a pretty good sign. Stephen Ayers, I've read him before. He's a pretty smart guy. This is a month-old article, but it's kind of my thinking on the stock. It aligns with it quite well. So just gonna go over this article. Briefly, VG, interesting. What's up, Payush? I sent you a shout out in one of the titles to my shorts. Says if Payush is buying SoFi today, so is John Candy. Uh, you look at the move. The insider bought 30 different times at different prices. Last was super. Oh, you. Okay, yeah, I've heard about you. When Moon, when Lambo on this thing. I'm going to say middle of this year, Mister Premium the option. I think this stock's going to go up. What's up, Adam DeMonico? Yeah, I try to keep the my thumbnail game as tight as possible, but I'm loose. I'm loose in the caboose. Let's see. What the hell's going on? I got so many things flashing at me. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Acadia Pharmaceuticals is rated to buy for steady, and I always mess these up. Nuplazid and debut franchises, pipeline driven upside potential. Nuplazid's patent protection now extends to 2030. That's potentially 2038 in terms of a little bit less cut and dry, but possibly that patent protection go out. 10% year-on-year revenue growth, providing a stable revenue base. Debut missed launch expectations, but remains a durable rare disease asset. U.S. growth, ex-U.S. growth is likely to be modest. ACP 204, mid-2026 phase 2 data in Alzheimer's psychosis is a major catalyst. ACAD's financials remain robust and profitable. So this company has about $850 million in cash. They're solidly profitable. They have no debt. They have 2 FDA-approved drugs. They have a strong pipeline that I believe isn't being priced in at all. And when you start to talk about success in Alzheimer's, the market really takes notice. But I just think this is flying a little bit under the radar right now. My last write-up on Acadia was March 2024. It was a buy on the stock. It's mirrored the index gains this entire time. Recall the company was busy protecting Nuplazid's IP. Acadia's newer drug debut was showing some early signs of trouble in Rett syndrome market. Many questioning debu's tolerability profile. The company attributed debu's early 2024 script stagnation to seasonal noise. It's common in this sector. A lot has changed over the past year plus, some good, some bad. The article that follows evaluates Acadia in light of recent developments. While peak expectations of debut are meaningful lower, at Nuplazid offer a safety net and have key pipeline readouts. That's the point. You're not really buying Nuplazid and debut. You're buying 204. And that's the key. You're buying the dream. They're selling you a dream. Sorry, I've got some kind of allergy thing happening. Head really stuffed up. Yeah, yeah. You might have to. I'm not premium option. This is not one I'm saying is going to explode. I'm just saying set up for these catalysts. My deal is this, and Nafa Feppo, guys. Nafa Feppo, don't sue me, bro. This is not financial advice. It's entertainment purposes only. Um, this is one I would just put in your back pocket for years and just let their pipeline work. I'm not saying take a huge position, but just, dip a toe in the water if you're so inclined. Recall that so Acadia's flagship drug Nuplazid for Parkinson's disease psychosis generated $609 million last year, up 11% year on year. It was up 12.5% year on year on a quarterly basis. The company is guiding for 685 million for fiscal year 2025. Recall that Nuplazid was first approved in 2016, excuse me. So the fact that it's still steadily growing at 10% year on year is really encouraging. That said, 2016 was a long time ago, right? Highlighting Nuplazid's IP vulnerability on that front, the position has improved. In June, Kiev's Court of Appeals Federal Circuit confirmed the validity of Nuplazid's patent, rejecting obvious type double patenting challenged by generic manufacturer MSN. This effectively gives Nuplazid composition of matter protection into 2030, and protection beyond is buoyed by weaker, legally speaking patents, like a formulation patent on the 34 milligram capsule that could extend protection in 2038. At least Acadia, this is what I was talking about. I was reading a different article at that time. At least Acadia has the comfort of knowing that its main product generates 2/3 of total sales, at least is safe for another few years. Debut ended up generating 348.4 billion 2024. Management cut guidance 2024 to 340-350. So Q3 2024 net products were up 11% to 101 million. Debut guided for Acadia guides for debut revenue to fall between 385 and 400 million in 25. While debu's launch was undoubtedly rocky, it has successfully transitioned to a durable, moderately beating the market rare disease franchise with global upside. Canada approved the drug in late 2024, and Acadia has sights set on the EU in 2026. During its earnings call, management cited persistency above 50% at 12 months. While not disastrous, this is clearly capping the true steady state base, excuse me. Meanwhile, Canada's reimbursement was described as disappointing and the EU is framed cautiously. So it's apparent that ex-US growth is unlikely to provide a big boost for debut. Pipeline, here's where things get a bit tricky for Acadia. The company is pushing for a pipeline build strategy and is assembling multiple shots on goal. ACP 204 is probably Acadia's most interesting drug candidate. I would definitely agree with that. It is a next gen, and I don't know what this means to be honest, 5-HT2A inversed agonist, same target class as Nuplazid that attempts to improve upon Nuplazid's safety issues. Like many antipsychotics, Nuplazid carries a label warning for QT interval prolongation. ACP 204 is designed to eliminate the QT. I don't even know what this stuff means. I won't pretend I do. And phase 2 trial in Lewy body dementia psychosis. The AD psychosis pursuit is an interesting one because Nuplazid explicitly failed here. Recall the FDA wanted to see more AD-specific evidence. Importantly, Acadia has learned from Nuplazid trial. Radiant evaluates AD psychosis not only in mixed dementia. There are no drugs approved specifically for AD psychosis, and off-label solutions carry box mortality warnings in dementia. So I think ACP 204 is a legit shot here, despite the past 5-HT2A inverse agonist mixed signals in AD psychosis. This market is arguably at least twice the size of Parkinson's psychosis. However, in September, Acadia reported a negative phase 3 outcome for ACP-101 in Prader-Willi syndrome. I don't know what Prader-Willi syndrome is. While this was Acadia's most advanced drug, it wasn't the most important one, judging from its stock's muted reaction to the data. Other earlier stage drugs includes ACP-211 in phase 1, and for a bunch of stuff that, again, I don't know what it means. For essential tremor, phase 2 ready ACP. So they have a pretty, strong pipeline here. And they have 3 phase 2 trials going on, and then they have another 2 phase 1 trials going on. So they have 5, clinical trials at least in phase 1, and they've got a couple more in the chamber. So I really don't feel like you're paying with $1 billion in sales profitability. I really don't feel like you're paying that much for the pipeline. In terms of I was just working with, AI and some other. I've been going through a bunch of stuff on this stock. I've been looking at it for a couple of weeks now. Um, so this is at least what AI had to say. 5 reasons I'm buying this. This kind of it fits in with what I'm talking about. I'm not saying every one of these has been vetted, but it looks pretty. Net income surged 103% year over year, 18% quarter over quarter. Operating income jumped 115% year on year, with operating margins up 90%. Strong margins and efficient operations. Gross margin 91%, net margin 25, EBITDA margins. These sources are all disparate. I don't know. I never know how to say that. EBITDA margin 27.5, unusually high for a small cap biotech. Return on equity sits at 30%, signaling efficient capital deployment. 3, solid revenue base with growth traction. Annual revenue is around 101 billion, 0.05, with consistent year-on-year growth. Revenue per share and free cash flow per share both trending upward. Focused CNS portfolio with commercial products. ACAD is a pure play CNS company with commercialized drugs, Nuplazid, Debut, and pipeline optionality. Analysts highlight that Nuplazid and Debut alone support a bullish long-term stance. That's what I mean. Even if they just had these 2 drugs, it's still undervalued, and you're valuing their whole portfolio at 0. They have a strong balance sheet and low leverage. Debt to equity in a company like this at 0.05 is crazy. So 720 and plus million in net working capital. Net debt EBITDA is negative, indicating more cash than debt. So this company probably won't have to raise any money in the immediate future. They'll at least get the readout. So you could benefit from the catalyst without any, negative catalysts in terms of convertibles, money raises, offerings at the money, all that fancy stuff. So I think there's a lot of reasons to buy the stock. Is this thing going to be a 10x where, it 5x's for you in a relatively short? Probably not. I'm targeting this as a more mature, more conservative play, but you get a lot of explosive upside in terms of the wild cards, which are obviously, right now, the big one is the ACP 204 for Alzheimer's disease psychosis, which is in phase 2. And again, we're looking for readout in about 6 months. And that's a very critical readout. And if it sets up nicely for phase 3, I think you start to price in the pipeline a lot more. And I think this stock goes up. So this is just one I don't have much of a position. Like it's not a huge position for me. Obviously, I'm just starting to build it out. But I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. Looking at their books, looking at their pipeline, looking at their drugs, their sales, their margins. Management's pretty strong. Their CEO, she was a pharmacist out of Britain, has had a long, long career with. Last Bristol Myers Squibb, she was a vice president overseeing a $20 billion division, and then she's had a lot of really strong experience with huge pharma. Started out GlaxoSmithKline, and just seems to really be a seasoned, very top flight executive. The rest of the team, like I said, I haven't had time to do super extensive research on this because I'm just starting out with this one, but just wanted to let you guys know this was something I was adding and something I'm looking at sort of building out a significant position on, but I'm always gathering more information, doing more research. What I usually do, guys, is if I have a totally unknown commodity, I'll research it for about a week. I'll probably put in anywhere from like 5 to 10 hours, sometimes a lot more, but it just depends. I'm never going to understand the medicine or the science. I'm just not smart enough. It's just, I don't have the training and experience. So I try to understand more of the financials. I try to understand the team. I try to understand the direction, the momentum, how the books are looking. And this is really the key here is like a company like, you notice I have my IOVA shorts, have Tiny Wings hat on. IOVA has kind of got the opposite deal because they are going to have to raise money. So I'm not saying I wouldn't buy IOVA, but I would say you have to be prepared to buy IOVA through another round of kind of painful dilution. Now, I don't think that's because I think the stock is trading, below the value significantly right now. So I think even with some type of supposedly, negative viewed money raise, I think you could still have a great investment on your hands with IOVA, but it needs readout, continued good readout in terms of like lung cancer and all that stuff. Um, yeah, no, that's not a bad idea, premium. But I think once this thing breaks 27, it's going to go up to like at least 40 pretty quickly. I mean, you see that on the chart, time and time again with this thing. Extreme slopes, extreme volatility, a huge, big, scary monster pattern, repeated big, scary monster pattern, big, scary monster here, big, scary monster here, big, scary monster here, little, scary monster there. So that really tells you everything you need to know in terms of science. Neil deGrasse Tyson, you got nothing on cornbread. I got more honey butter and a little bit. The mysteries of the universe are unfolding before our very eyes. I love me some Neil deGrasse Tyson. Who else can explain physics so a big fat political science econ guy can understand? You're not smart enough to do physics. I know that. And NDG. Okay. Payush likes VG. Who doesn't? Ask his missus. Yeah, wait for the dip premium, the option. You got it. I'm not going crazy on VG at 6. Let's see, what's everybody? I haven't Venture Global. I don't even know this one. Oh yeah, yeah. I have looked at this. I forget what I've looked at. I mean, you gotta like the profit, but I don't know. What do you guys love about this one? What's the word, Payush? Um, so anyway, guys, nobody's here, nobody's watching. But I think ACAD is one that if you sit on it and the Alzheimer's data looks good, you're going to get a huge reward. And if it looks bad, you can come back and buy the dip. And yeah, I wouldn't really buy the dip if that data looks bad. But I think if you give it a minute and you wait for earnings and their sales continue to improve and earnings still look good, I think you could get out, with this skin on your back or your pants on, or at least your skivvies, at least the chonies. They might steal your pants, leave your chonies, which is a pretty good compromise. You got a tiny wing. At least you got some coverage for incidentals. Why do you need my address? We like to send out a mailer. Oh, excellent, Dad. They have a pool. Very good, Rusty. Lots of U-turners. Yeah, most U-turners are idiots. Present company included, of course. Anyway, guys, that's ACAD, Acadia Pharma, starting a position, gonna do a lot more research on it, really go in depth, and then if it looks good, I'm gonna start building it out ahead of this Alzheimer's readout. And hopefully by summer, if everything goes to plan, I will have a huge position. The data will be good. It will be a massive pop, and I will either sell if it's big enough, or I will hold, or I will, you know, sit and spin. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. Guys, be really careful about buying things that a lot of U-turners are pumping. A lot of these things go to absolutely fall apart and go to shit as soon as everybody starts pumping them. So just be careful. Do your own research. Nafa Feppo. Nafa Feppo, guys. Don't sue me, bro. But, you know, just use caution. Like a lot of us on YouTube know absolutely nothing, and we're just big, fat morons. Guys, they call me Tabasco Rojas. They call me Little Danny Cornbread DeCarlo because I'm moist, I'm doughy, and I crumble under pressure. They call me MC Al Dente. They call me DJ Passy Drizzle. They call me Stock Parent. They call me Hurricane Lopez. What the hell else do they call me? I don't know, guys. Anyway, this show was pretty crappy, but I appreciate any of you who stuck around.